Welcome to my lecture on time value of money. I'm trying to give you the theory behind how time value of money works in an academic sense. This is going to be a topic that is important for accounting majors, finance majors, and economics majors. You really are going to have to understand this topic in order to get through college. But it is a topic that is conquerable. If you practice that a little bit, I don't think you're going to have any trouble mastering the topic. So, I've posted this presentation along with some additional studying materials on Google Docs, and I put the reference in the description on YouTube. In order to get the most out of this lecture, you're going to need a good financial calculator, and you're going to need your present value and future value tables, as well as your present value and future value of annuity tables. I'm going to teach you in this lecture how you make up those tables, what's on the tables. I don't want you to just blindly grab a table and try and do a calculation. In order to really master this topic, you've got to understand how those tables are put together. And that's what we're attempting to do in this lecture. So let's start with the basis here. We all heard that old term that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Well, that is applicable to time value of money. You would rather have $1 today than a dollar in the future, obviously. So I've put on the very first question here a future value problem. We're looking for the present value of $10,000 that you receive in 10 periods. So the future value is $10,000. We want to know what the present value is. Present value is going to be less than the future value. Another way of looking at that is if you put some amount of money in the bank today and it earned interest, how much would you have to put in the bank in order for it to be worth $10,000 10 years in the future? Now, in order to calculate this, we need to know what the interest rate is. And this is an important point. If the interest rate is 0, how much money would you have to put in the bank today in order for it to be worth $10,000 in 10 years? The answer to that is $10,000 because it's not earning any interest. Well, as long as the interest rate is greater than 0, then the present value is going to be less than the future value because the present value, the money today, is going to be earning interest over time. So interest rate is another topic that you'll study. What goes into interest rates? Well, it's a combination of credit risk, other market forces, as well as the inflation rate. Historically, the inflation rate in the U.S. is about 2.5%. So let's start solving this problem, and we're going to assume a 10% rate of interest. In order to calculate future value, we could take 1 plus the interest rate, which is 1.10, and multiply that 10 times, and that would give us 2.5937. If you have a future value table, try and find that number. It's 10 periods at 10% interest. That's $1 is worth $2.59, 10 years in the period. So if we wanted to know how much money I would need to put in the bank today to have it be worth $10,000 10 years from now, 10% interest, I'm going to use that future value factor to calculate this. So X times 2.5937 equals $10,000. And doing a little bit of algebra, I figure out that if I put $3,844 in the bank today and it earns interest for the next 10 years, it's going to be worth $10,000 in 10 years. An alternate calculation is 1.10 to the minus 10th power. Now, an important point that I want you to focus on in looking at your tables is this future value money factor and the present value money factor. These are inverses of one another. So 1 divided by 2.5937 equals 0.3844. And 1 divided by 0.3844 equals 2.5937. You should be able to find these numbers on your tables. So if you have one, you can automatically calculate the other. Now, how do these future value and present value tables, how do we use those to compute annuities? Well, an annuity is a fixed amount of money at even periods. So I can look at the present value of an annuity or the future value of an annuity. If I'm putting an even amount in the bank over a certain period of time, what will it be worth at the end of the period, at the end of those periods. We use future value of an annuity tables to calculate things like how much money are you going to have when you're saving for your retirement. We use present value of an annuity tables to figure out if you're going to be receiving a fixed sum of money over time, what is that worth today? If you have your present value and future value of an annuity tables handy, you can see how these things are put together. So what I've listed here on the table is I've got the future value of $1 at 10% interest. What is that worth 1 year from now? Well, $1 earning 10% interest is $1.10. If it earns money for 2 years, it's worth $1.21. If it earns interest for 3 years, it's $1.33. If I add those three together, that gives me the future value of an annuity, and you'll find that 3.64 actually in the future value of an annuity table. The present value is the flip side. So I've taken the inverse of 1.10, it's 0.909, for all 3 years, 1 period, 2 periods, 3 periods. I've added those together, and that's given me the present value of an annuity. And this is assuming that we're getting even payments over the next 3 years. Both of these tables, the future value of an annuity and present value of an annuity, are just mathematically adding up the money factors from the present value and future value tables. They're not that complicated once you get used to doing those. I'd like for you to practice on your tables and do some other interest rates besides 10% and see how they work. A topic that gets a little bit complicated in present value and future value in annuities is when they're talking about annuities in advance. That sometimes it's not even a term that's used in textbooks. I like to kind of stay away from it. But ordinary annuity, and this is how most of the tables are put together, the tables you're going to find in most of your appendices in the back of the books, mean that the payments start 1 year from today. And you can see how we put together the present value and future value of ordinary annuities. An annuity in advance means that the first payment is made today. So we just shifted the timing of the payments a little bit. It's a good idea to sketch out the timing of payments when you put together these tables. I've laid this out a little more clearly, and it's a little more detail in the Word document that's in Google Docs. So please take a look at that. I hope that this lecture has given you a little bit of foothold into the theory of how the present value and future value tables work and the present value and future value of an annuity tables work. Don't be afraid of this topic. Get in and practice with it. You should be able to calculate mortgage payments and car payments. Master this topic, and you're well on your way to doing well in college in this topic.